What's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Migu and I am a business analyst, and today I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. I want to talk about what it's like to grow up as a Portuguese person here in Luxembourg. And first let me tell you about my background. Both my parents, they are Portuguese and they came from Portugal to Luxembourg in the late 80s. Because of economic reasons. And so I was born and raised here in Luxembourg, and I never actually lived in Portugal. But I used to visit my family every single year for at least a month during summer vacation. And yes, I had to work in the fields in a tiny remote village like any good Portuguese person. My real name's not Migu. I just like the sound of it, and my real name's Miguel and I'm 28 years old. Like I said, I was born and raised here in Luxembourg, so that means I got all my education here. And except for university, I did it in France, in Strasbourg for like 5 years. I did my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in project management, and nowadays I work as a business analyst, and for a few years already actually. But in between uni and my very first official job, I backpacked through Asia for 1 year. I did 6 months of backpacking in Thailand, 4 in South Korea, and 2 in China. And I absolutely loved it, and it was amazing. Making friends was not always that easy, especially not when you're always the only Portuguese kid in class. Well, maybe I wasn't always the only one, but I was one of the very, very few. But I guess nowadays it's quite different because everyone has Portuguese friends. In Luxembourg, if you don't know, there's like 17-20% of the population that's Portuguese. So that's a quite high number. And so I learned Portuguese first, and then I learned Luxembourgish. And let me tell you, you cannot tell me apart from a Luxembourgish person. So even as a kid, I did not have any language problems, and so I guess it wasn't actually because I wasn't speaking Luxembourgish like Luxembourgish people do. It was more like because I was simply different. And food is incredibly important for us, and the order actually goes family, food, football, and then education. Just kidding. Everyone would always tease me about the kind of food we eat because Portuguese people like fish, and there's this one very famous one called bacalhau, but also sardines that we like to eat, and so they always make fun of the smell of it. And let's be honest, Portuguese food is really delicious, and so there's no way they would actually make fun of me if they had tried that kind of food. And as a kid, it wasn't always easy to hear this kind of things, of course. I do not feel at home in Portugal, but I do feel so here in Luxembourg, of course. My parents are here, my friends, my family. I work here too. But I do feel different, of course, because I am not the same. I'm neither fully Portuguese nor Luxembourgish. And I love it, actually, because it makes me experience the best of both worlds. So I'm way more open-minded. Well, usually I'm way more open-minded than, let's say, just Portuguese people or just Luxembourgish people. And I feel kind of lucky to be able to have access to both worlds. And one good thing about being Portuguese in Luxembourg is, first of all, being able to compare those two cultures that are totally different. And this actually makes me make friends way easier than other people. Another great thing about being Portuguese is that I was already speaking 2 languages even before starting primary school. So another great thing about being Portuguese is that I was already speaking 2 languages even before starting primary school. So I learned 2 languages by immersion alone. And this is a very big advantage because now I pick up languages way faster than other people. I'm at my 6th one and I'm trying to learn my 7th. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I speak Portuguese, Luxembourgish, German, French, English, and Korean, and the 7th one will be Thai. Another great thing is, of course, being able to travel to Portugal. And not only to be able to travel to Portugal, because everyone can do that, but to have access to things that only local people can do. And Portugal, as I know, is totally different than the Portugal other people know that only go there for vacation for, let's say, 1 week, 2 weeks, that's definitely not enough. Actually, even if you stay for 2 or 5 years, it's still not enough. Whenever I travel to Portugal, I can experience things that normal people can only dream about, and this is absolutely great. Now, as for the bad things, you may get bullied, but I guess nowadays it's a little bit different because we are way more integrated in the society than when I was younger, and everyone has Portuguese friends basically nowadays. And so I was lucky because I would always be kind of right back at you if you would tease me too much, so people would not be too mean to me. It may also not be very easy to make friends here because when you do not know how to speak the language, then it will be quite tricky because you can only make friends when you understand each other. Well, most of the time. Another thing is that the first generation of Portuguese families that came to Luxembourg still to this day do not speak Luxembourgish. Well, some of them, they may speak French, and this is already something very, very nice to have, but most of them do not. So as a kid, you really did had to fight, and you will still have to fight if your parents do not speak Luxembourgish or French at home. But anyways, nowadays it's different. There's not a big difference anymore like it used to be. And if you have any questions, let me know down below, and please consider liking and subscribing. Usually I do language learning content, so this one was a little bit different, but I will see you in the next one.